Louisville, Kentucky, November 1998. Saturday evening, autumn settling into winter. The Oak Room on 4th Street, the kind of restaurant where occasions mattered. Anniversaries, promotions, dinners marking something significant. 30 tables, dark wood paneling, warm lighting. Saturday evenings always fully booked. Robert Chen, maitre d' for 12 years, managed reservations 6 weeks in advance. Muhammad Ali arrived at 7:15 with his wife Lonnie. Reservation for 7:30, but arrived early. Parkinson's made timing difficult. He was 56, the disease diagnosed in 1984, progressing steadily. Some days the tremor was manageable. Tonight, it was visible. Chen saw them enter. Ali came 3 times a year, regular enough, always corner booth, table 6. Quiet. Ali's speech affected by Parkinson's. Conversations required effort. Chen greeted them, took coats, walked them to table 6. Ali moved slowly, hand on Lonnie's arm, tremor visible. Some diners noticed. A few recognized him. Most didn't. Recognition rate for Ali in 1998, maybe 50%. Famous, but visibly ill. Illness changed his appearance. The server, Marcus Grant, 24, 8 months at Oak Room, recognized Ali immediately. His father had been an amateur boxer. Ali was childhood legend. Marcus wanted to acknowledge it, but saw Ali's fatigue. Said nothing, took drink order, left them to quiet conversation. 7:45 p.m., Richard and Victoria Ashford arrived. No reservation. Regulars. Spent $10,000 yearly. Richard, real estate developer. Victoria, second wife. Early 50s, the gloss of converted money. Chen delivered the news. Fully booked tonight. Richard, we're regulars, find us a table. Chen, every table occupied. You can wait at the bar for cancellations. Victoria scanned the room, stopped at table 6. Elderly black couple, man with visible tremor, woman cutting his food. Victoria to Richard, that corner table, they look almost finished. Richard to Chen, table 6. When are they leaving? Chen, sir, they've only just received entrees. Victoria, patient tone. They're elderly. Look at him. He can barely hold his fork. We can wait 20 minutes. Chen, I cannot ask guests to vacate their table. Richard leaned in. Robert, we spend a lot here. That couple, they're probably on a fixed income. Special occasion. We'll pay for their meal. Tell them we'll cover their check if they move. Everyone wins. Chen looked at Richard Ashford, looked at Victoria, looked at table 6, where Muhammad Ali was eating dinner with his wife. Ali's hand was shaking as he lifted his water glass. Lonnie had her hand on his arm, steadying him, an intimate gesture, a private moment happening in public. Chen made a decision. Excuse me for one moment. He walked to table 6, leaned down slightly so he could speak at a volume that would not carry. Mr. Ali, I apologize for interrupting. I have a situation I wanted to make you aware of. His face showed the effort of shifting attention. Parkinson's made rapid transitions difficult. Lonnie looked concerned. Is something wrong? Chen chose his words carefully. There are guests at the door who would like this table. They've asked me to request that you move to a different table. They've offered to pay for your meal in exchange. Lonnie's face hardened immediately. Before she could respond, Ali put his hand on hers. The gesture was slight. The tremor made it imprecise, but the meaning was clear. He looked at Chen, managed a small smile. It's okay, we can move. Chen shook his head. No, sir, you will not move. I wanted you to know what was being asked, but you will absolutely not move. I'm handling this. Please enjoy your dinner." Ali looked at Chen for a moment, nodded slightly. Chen straightened, walked back to the maitre d' stand where the Ashfords were waiting. Marcus Grant, the young server, had been watching from his station near the bar, had heard enough of the conversation with the Ashfords to understand what was happening, had seen Chen walk to table 6, had seen Chen's face when he returned. Marcus moved closer. Chen arrived at the maitre d' stand. The Ashfords looked at him expectantly. Chen spoke clearly, loud enough that Marcus could hear, loud enough that the couple waiting at the bar could hear. "I'm afraid table 6 will not be available this evening." Richard's expression shifted from expectation to irritation. "Did you ask them?" "I informed the gentleman at that table of your request. He graciously offered to move. I declined on his behalf." Victoria's voice rose slightly. "You declined? Robert, we're offering to pay for their meal. They're clearly on a limited budget. Look at them. He's sick. She's probably his caretaker. This is probably the nicest meal they've had in months. We're doing them a favor." Marcus Grant stepped forward, had not decided consciously to intervene, but his body had decided before his mind caught up. "Ma'am, that gentleman is Muhammad Ali." Victoria looked at Marcus blankly. "Who?" Richard laughed, short, dismissive. "The boxer? That's not Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was the greatest. That's just some sick old man who can't even hold his fork." Marcus felt heat rise in his chest. "Sir, that is Muhammad Ali. I recognize him. My father met him in 1978. That is absolutely Muhammad Ali." Victoria waved her hand dismissively. "Even if it is, I don't care if he's the president. We're spending money here tonight. Real money. That man looks like he can barely afford the appetizer. This is a business decision, Robert. We're good customers. Act like it." Robert Chen had been in the hospitality industry for 23 years. He had managed difficult customers, had navigated entitlement and rudeness and the specific cruelty that money sometimes teaches people. He had always done so with professional grace, with the understanding that his job was accommodation. But standing at his maitre d' stand on a Saturday evening in November 1998, listening to Victoria Ashford refer to Muhammad Ali as some sick old man who can barely afford the appetizer, something shifted. Chen raised his voice, not shouting, but loud enough that the nearest tables could hear clearly, loud enough that the bar area could hear, loud enough that Marcus was certain table 6 could hear if they were listening. "That sick old man is Muhammad Ali, 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, Olympic gold medalist, one of the most significant athletes and civil rights figures of the 20th century. He is dining at table 6 with his wife, and he will remain at table 6 for as long as he chooses. Is that clear?" The restaurant was not silent. 30 tables of conversation continued, but a pocket of silence had formed around the maitre d' stand. The tables nearest had stopped talking. "We're listening. We're looking." Victoria's face changed. The dismissiveness evaporated, replaced by something else. Not quite embarrassment yet, still in the territory of recalculation. "Wait, that's really Muhammad Ali, the Muhammad Ali?" Chen's voice was quieter now, but no less clear. "Yes, the man you just called some sick old man who can barely afford the appetizer is Muhammad Ali." Richard Ashford looked toward table 6. From where he stood, he could see the corner booth, could see the man with the trembling hands, could see the woman helping him, could see what he had been looking at before but had not been seeing. Recognition arrived late but complete. Jesus Christ. The silence had spread. More tables had stopped talking. People were turning to look at the Ashfords, then turning to look at table 6. Recognition was moving through the dining room like a wave. We're realizing he'd been there all along, that they'd been eating dinner 20 feet away from the greatest and hadn't known it. Someone at table 9 stood up, started clapping. Someone else joined. Within seconds, half the restaurant was standing, applauding, looking at table 6 where Muhammad Ali sat with his wife trying to eat dinner. Ali looked up at the sound, saw the standing ovation. His face showed embarrassment. He raised one trembling hand, made a small gesture. "Sit down, please, it's okay." The gesture was gentle, almost apologetic, as if he were sorry for disrupting their dinners. Lonnie put her hand on his arm, leaned close, said something the restaurant couldn't hear. Ali nodded, managed a small smile, waved once more. The applause continued for another moment, then faded. People sat back down. The pocket of unusual attention dispersed. Conversations resumed, but changed. Now people knew. Now they were dining in the same room as Muhammad Ali. The story they would tell later had just gotten better. At the maitre d' stand, Victoria Ashford was pale. "Robert, we didn't know. We didn't recognize him." Chen's voice was professionally neutral. "That's precisely the problem, Mrs. Ashford. You saw an elderly couple, a sick man and his caretaker, and you decided their presence was worth less than your convenience. You offered to pay for their meal, as if that made it better, as if poverty was the only reason people deserved dignity." Richard tried to recover. "We'd like to apologize to Mr. Ali, if we could just—" Chen interrupted. "No, you will not approach that table. You will not disturb that man's dinner any further. You will leave." "Robert, come on. We made a mistake. We didn't recognize." "You made a mistake before you knew who he was," Chen said quietly. "That's the mistake. Please leave. You're no longer welcome at the Oak Room." Victoria's face flushed red. "We spend $10,000 a year here." "Yes," Chen said simply. "I'm banning you. The decision stands." Marcus Grant stood beside Chen, said nothing, but his presence was support, reinforcement, agreement. The Ashfords left. The door closed behind them. The restaurant continued. Table 6 continued. Ali and Lonnie finished their entrees, ordered dessert, coffee, sat together in the corner booth talking quietly, while the rest of the dining room ate and drank and gradually stopped checking to see if Muhammad Ali was still there. When they finished, Chen brought the check himself. Ali reached for his wallet. Chen shook his head. "No charge tonight, Mr. Ali. The meal is on the house." Ali looked at him, struggled to form words. The Parkinson's made speech difficult, but he managed. "You didn't have to do that." "I know, sir, but it's done." Lonnie touched Chen's hand. "Thank you for earlier, for speaking up." Chen nodded. As they were leaving, Marcus appeared with their coats, helped Ali into his. Ali looked at the young server. "Your father was a boxer?" Marcus was startled that Ali had heard that detail from across the restaurant. "Yes, sir, amateur. You met him once. 1978. Louisville Athletic Club." Ali's face showed the effort of searching memory. The Parkinson's made recall difficult, but something connected. "What's his name?" "David Grant." Ali smiled, small but genuine. "I remember. Good man. Tell him I said hello." Marcus felt his throat tighten. "I will, sir, thank you." They walked out into the November night. The restaurant continued behind them. 30 tables of people who now had a story about the night they had dinner in the same room as Muhammad Ali, about the couple who didn't recognize him and tried to take his table, about the maitre d' who banned them, about the young server who spoke up, about the greatest, eating dinner quietly in the corner while his hands shook and his wife cut his food, and people who should have known better treated him like an inconvenience. Robert Chen went home that night and told his wife what had happened. She asked if he was worried about the consequences, about banning regular customers, about the revenue loss. Chen said no. He made the right choice, would make it again. The restaurant would survive without the Ashfords' $10,000. His conscience wouldn't survive if he'd let them take Muhammad Ali's table. The story spread, not because Ali wanted it to, he never mentioned it, but Marcus told his father. His father told friends. People who'd been in the restaurant that night told their version. By Monday, half of Louisville knew some version of what had happened at the Oak Room on Saturday night. By Wednesday, the story had reached the local papers. By Friday, the restaurant had received more than 200 reservation requests. People wanted to eat where Muhammad Ali ate, where the maitre d' had chosen dignity over money. The Ashfords never returned, sent a letter of apology that Robert Chen acknowledged but did not respond to. They tried other restaurants, were recognized at some, found that their story had preceded them, that Louisville was a smaller town than they had realized, that some mistakes follow you. Muhammad Ali returned to the Oak Room 3 months later. Same table, same corner booth. Robert Chen greeted him warmly. Marcus Grant served him. The other diners noticed, recognized him, said nothing, let him eat in peace, which was exactly what he wanted, what he'd always wanted, to be treated like everyone else, to have dinner with his wife without being an exhibit or a disruption or a symbol. Just a man, having dinner, in a restaurant where the staff understood that dignity isn't conditional on recognition, that respect isn't earned by fame, that a sick old man deserves the same courtesy as a healthy young athlete, that the measure of a good restaurant isn't how well it serves the rich, it's how well it protects the vulnerable, even when the vulnerable is the greatest heavyweight champion of all time.